For Telesur, I'm Cody Weddle in Caracas, Venezuela. We start today in the Kurdish town of Kobani on the Syria-Turkish border, where Islamic State group militants may have taken control after weeks of fighting. The town is home to a large Kurdish population. Turkey initially pledged to help the town's residents, but have not followed through with those promises. That has prompted accusations that Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is purposefully abandoning Kurds, hoping to weaken rebel groups that have long fought for Kurdish rights. Protests have erupted all over Europe during the last 24 hours. Some 50 people even stormed the EU Parliament building in Brussels. Demonstrators demand help for Kobani's Kurds.
We are calling the international public and states to support the people and their defense forces in Kobani immediately. Against those states that are supporting IS, above all the Turkish government. Consequences, for instance, sanctions, finally must be carried out to prevent a humanitarian catastrophe and human tragedy once again. The people in Kobani should be supported on all levels, also militarily, in their resistance against IS.
We turn now to Mexico, where the case of the 43 missing students in the state of Guerrero has led to international outcry. The discovery of a mass grave this weekend sparked fears that the students may have been massacred by criminal gangs with the support of local law enforcement agents. 22 police officers have so far been arrested in connection with the missing students, and federal authorities have taken control of the case. During a press conference yesterday, Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto responded to demonstrators who are demanding justice.
Mexican society and the family members of those who are currently and sadly missing have the right to demand the facts of this case be made known, that justice is done, and that those who are responsible for these acts face justice, and that there is no impunity.
In other Latin American news, thousands of supporters of Bolivian President Evo Morales turned out yesterday at campaign rallies in support of the incumbent. Morales will end his campaign on Wednesday. Elections are set for this Sunday. According to polls, Morales is dominating the electoral landscape with 57% support. That indicates that a second round of voting is unlikely. During campaign rallies yesterday, President Morales reminded Bolivians that the elections will be held on a symbolic day.
El 12 de octubre 2014
October 12, 2014 will be an October 12th of final liberation. What a coincidence it is that the election this year will fall on the anniversary of October 12, 1492. An October 12th of European invasion and domination, an invasion based on suppression. Now, October 12th, 2014 will be an October 12th of definitive liberation for the Bolivian people.
Staying in Bolivia, the nation's electoral authorities reported yesterday that voting material has been distributed throughout the country. Voting equipment has also been distributed to 33 countries where Bolivians will vote abroad. According to the Bolivian Electoral Supreme Court, 70 cases of campaign advertising violations have all been resolved. And in Bolivia, our correspondent David Doherty continues to follow these elections closely. He has more on the changing ways Bolivians are receiving their news about campaigns.
Bolivia is experiencing a boom in community radio programming, like the station Radio Venceremos, located in a recreation center in the working-class neighborhood of Plan 3000 in the eastern city of Santa Cruz.
We go on the air so that people can participate in our programming. We call on listeners to join our broadcast so they can report and inform people on the issues affecting their neighborhood, and so they can feel like they have a voice. It is the voice of the voiceless.
The government of President Evo Morales has actively promoted the diffusion of community radio stations in both rural and urban areas where marginalized populations demand alternatives to Bolivia's mainstream media offerings.
Las radios comunitarias comienza a partir del empuje mismo.
The community radio stations emerged as a result of a push from the people. Now, with the government of President Evo Morales, we will see a bit more support on behalf of the state. But without a doubt, the community radio stations were born of the necessities and the pressure exerted by these communities.
Los medios comunitarios nacen a partir de las necesidades y del empuje del mismo pueblo.
In addition to providing programming in Spanish, many community radio stations transmit in any number of indigenous languages spoken in communities across Bolivia. For those tuning in, the airwaves offer a critical sense of empowerment. Reporting from Santa Cruz, David Doherty, Telesur.
And thanks to David. In Brazil, following Sunday's election, campaigns have quickly shifted their focus to the runoff election set for October 26. In the first round, incumbent Dilma Rousseff took more than 40% of the popular vote, but did not secure the 50% necessary to avoid the runoff election. Rousseff will face conservative challenger Aécio Neves in the second round. Yesterday, she urged Brazilians via Twitter to not return to the past, criticizing her foe's neoliberal party, which has previously cut public salaries. Neves says he will focus on creating more job opportunities for the population. Sunday's third-place candidate, Marina Silva, has not confirmed whether she will back either side. Cuba and Venezuela yesterday marked the 38th anniversary of what some call the deadliest terror attack from the air prior to the September 11th attacks in the United States. In 1976, Flight 455, which took off from Venezuela bound for Cuba, suddenly exploded. All 73 passengers and 5 crew members aboard died after the plane crashed near Barbados. The culprits were found to be targeting Fidel Castro's government. 4 of the terrorists were found to be Latin Americans contracted by the U.S. One of the attack's masterminds, Posada Capriles, currently lives freely in Miami. Plenty of Haitians are expressing their anger following the death of former dictator Jacques-Claude Duvalier yesterday. His death ends hopes for justice for crimes committed by his regime. Known as Baby Doc, Duvalier inherited power from his father, Papa Doc. He was due to be charged with crimes against humanity, such as abuses by the army and paramilitary forces. Current Haitian President Michel Martelly has sparked outrage by some in the country after offering his condolences to the former dictator's family. Elsewhere in the world, new isolated cases of Ebola have been reported in Western countries. The virus has already killed 3,500. Cases in the West have taken international media focus off the millions in West Africa suffering under threat of the outbreak. Authorities in many countries, like the United States, have been looking at how to best protect themselves after 1 U.S. citizen and 1 Spanish nurse contracted the virus over the past week. Even U.S. President Barack Obama slammed unnamed large countries for not contributing to the Ebola response. He reminded the public that the chance of an outbreak in the United States is extremely low. Meanwhile, in Africa, 3 Ugandans are suspected of contracting a different strain of the Ebola virus, the Marburg hemorrhagic fever. The World Health Organization is working closely with Uganda's Ministry of Health to contain the deadly virus. In sports today, the world's most decorated Olympic swimmer, Michael Phelps, received a 6-month ban from USA Swimming. He was also dropped from the 2015 World Championship following an arrest last week for drunk driving. It is the second time in 10 years that the U.S. national has been arrested for the same crime. The 18-time Olympic medalist will stand trial for the misdemeanor in November. Plenty more on those stories and others at our website, telesurtv.net/English. For Telesur English, I'm Cody Weddle. Have a great day.